Hello, this is a continuation of the introduction to Acme on the Plan9 system. Again, here we have the Acme window open and running, and there's a small window up in the corner showing the status of my mouse buttons 1, 2, and 3, so you can see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. When you first run Plan9 and log in as Glenda, one of the windows you get is this window readme.acme, which has a lot of great information about how to use Acme, and it would be a good idea at this time to read through this and get a better feel for how to use the features of Acme. You can also get a lot of other great information using the manuals that are installed on the system. The most obvious way to get a manual is to run the man command. For example, man Acme will pull up the manual for Acme. You can also use button 3 to click on text that has a parentheses and a manual section name like Acme parentheses 1 to load up the manual page in a new window. So for example, clicking on Acme 1 pulls up the manual page, or clicking on cons 3 will pull up the manual page for cons section 3. Another great command to use is the lookman command, and it does a search in the manual pages to find matching patterns. So for example, if we wanted to look for manual pages that had the word Acme in it, we can just type lookman Acme and we get a listing here, including the page that we selected, Acme 1. Another great page to open up and read more about is the introduction man page, which is 0 intro, and this has a lot of great overview about how to use Plan9 in general. Now Acme is actually a text editor in addition to a command environment, and you can perform all sort of normal types of editing commands as you would in other systems. For example, selecting text and then typing over it replaces that text with the text that you typed. There's also a really nice undo and redo feature where you can eliminate any of the edits you made or reperform them, so that you can always get back to the state of the window before you performed your edits. As in other systems that you may have used, such as Unix, there's a powerful scripting interface in the editor as well, using commands and regular expressions. And this command language is very similar to what you see in VI or in the sed editor. For example, if you want to perform a substitution over the file to replace the letter A with uppercase A, you use a substitute command that's very similar to what you would see in Acme. And this would normally apply to the selected portion of text, unless you explicitly give it an address of the lines to do the editing on. For example, to do lines 1 through 10, we use 1,10 with the command. Or if you want to perform it on the entire file, the entire range, which is just a comma, is used. Now, in addition to normal editing, you can also perform cuts and pastes of text between windows or within the same window. The simplest way to perform this is to select the text you would like to cut and use button 2 on the snarf command, and that puts it in the snarf buffer. And then later you can use button 2 on the paste command to actually paste that text somewhere else in the file or in another window. Now this is a bit tedious, so there's a shortcut command that you can use using several mouse buttons at once. If you select text with button 1 and then without releasing the button 1 press button 2, you perform a snarf of that text. And then if you are holding down button 1 and press button 3 without releasing button 1, you perform a paste. And if you perform this in sequence, you actually do a cut and a paste, which restores the file to its original state. So cut and paste, which is equivalent to a snarf. So now we have that text in the snarf buffer. To paste it in another window, you just click with button 1 and again press button 3. And that's how you can do a quick cut and paste. There's also a chording feature for commands, such as edit, where we perform the command edit with an argument of a comma and then a substitution command. if we had wanted to redo these types of commands often, we can place those commands in the file that we saved for later use, and then provide those arguments to the command later by using a chording feature. So for example, if I wanted to open the readme.rio file and replace all of the letter A with uppercase A, I would again use an edit command. This time I would select some text in another window, and then I would middle click on edit as I normally would, but at this point I would, without releasing the middle button, press button 1, and that would append whatever was previously selected by button 1 to the command. And now when I release button 2, the operation is performed. Now a common idiom when using Acme is to keep around a file that has a lot of these different commands that you would like to use often. So I use win a lot, and I decided perhaps the substitute command is something I'd use often. So I'm going to put them directly into this readme.acme file, which opens every time I log in. And I'm going to save that file by middle clicking put. So these will be useful for me in the future.